Hey guys, thanks for the click and welcome back. Here's the Mira 7's exhaust fan before the clean, and here's the exhaust fan after the clean. I highly recommend that you watch my previous video on how to remove the Mira 7's exhaust fan first. You can find the link in the description below. But now I'm going to show you how I install this exhaust fan back into the Mira 7. And I'm also going to show you a very important installation tip that's going to make this fan install a lot easier. The first thing I did is I attached the small piece of 6-inch exhaust jumper hose onto the flange of the mounting bracket, and then I tightened the hose clamp down with a Phillips head screwdriver. Now it's very important to position the other hose clamp onto the top of the hose. This will make it a lot easier to tighten that clamp to the inner exhaust flange later, so make sure it's on top. I now take the clean fan back to the laser and I carefully place it back into the Mira 7. I now want to place the exhaust hose on the back inner flange using both of my hands. Once it's pushed in place, I grab a Phillips head screwdriver and I tighten the clamp down. Next, I will have to screw down the fan to the rubber mounts on the floor of the laser. Now here's the hard part. I'm going to have to place a small screw, flat washer, and lock washer into a small tight area and place those three parts onto a screwdriver, then insert the screw into a small hole on a mounting bracket, then screw it down with a screwdriver. Really? Did I mention you can barely fit your hand into that area? And how am I going to keep the small screw and washers from falling off the screwdriver? After trying out many other ideas, here's the plan I came up with. It ended up being quite simple and a lifesaver. I ended up cutting a 4-inch piece of 3/4 inch painter's tape. I then poked a small hole into the center of the tape with a small screwdriver. I then placed the loaded screw into the hole on the sticky side. I then placed the screwdriver onto the screw head. I now fold both ends of the tape onto the shaft of the screwdriver and I make sure that the tape is stuck down good. And there you have it. You now have a tool hack to hold the screw and the washers to the tip of the screwdriver. You will now be able to insert the screwdriver to the back of the exhaust fan in a tight space without dropping the screws or the two washers. Okay, so let me go ahead and start screwing down the exhaust fan. The first thing I do is I lift the exhaust fan up and I place the mounting bracket onto the top of the 4 rubber mounts, trying my best to line up the holes on the bracket to the screw holes on the rubber mount. I now get my loaded screwdriver and I position it to the back right screw location. I then try to place the screw into the hole. I then realize that I have to move the bracket a bit, so then I grab my screwdriver with my right hand and I use my left hand to move the bracket. I am now able to find the hole of the mounting bracket and I push down on the screw and I start to screw it into the rubber mounts. I don't over tighten the screw so I can still be able to move the bracket for the other screw placements. I now lift up on the screwdriver to release the screw from the tape screwdriver. It tears easily and I remove the screwdriver. This hack worked out a lot better than I thought it would. I now insert the loaded screwdriver to the back of the exhaust fan to screw in the right front screw. And just like before, I'm going to use my left hand to move the mounting bracket a bit so that the screw finds the bracket hole and falls into the screw hole on the rubber mount. I screw in the screw, but I don't over tighten. I then lift up on the screwdriver to release the tape screwdriver from the screw. And once again, the tape breaks away easily and I remove the screwdriver. For the front left screw, I have to insert the loaded screwdriver and go over the exhaust fan with my right hand to find the front left screw hole. For this one, it's a little easier because by screwing down the first 2 screws, it aligned all the holes. So I screw it down, but I don't over tighten. I then pull up on the screwdriver to tear the screwdriver away from the screw. And finally, I insert the loaded screwdriver over the exhaust fan with my right hand to find the last mounting hole. Once I find it, I screw down the screw, but I don't over tighten. I pull up on the screwdriver to break it away from the screw. At this point, I go back and screw down the screws to give them a sufficient amount of torque. Well guys, I'm done screwing down the exhaust fan. This part of the fan install could have been a nightmare, but using this screwdriver tape hack made it super easy. Without this hack, I really can't see an easy way to get it screwed down, so I hope this helps you to install your fan in your Mira 7. So let me go ahead and finish putting everything back together. This will be super easy compared to what I just did. I find the ground cable and I screw it back into the metal housing of the exhaust fan. Next, I screw down the capacitor to the floor of the laser. Now it's time to do a little cable management. So I bundle up all the cables and I place them back into the black spiral cable wrap. Once I get toward the end, I feed the exhaust fan power cables back to the 110 volt power source, and then I finish wrapping up the cables. I now push the wrapped cables into the laser, getting them out of the way. I now move around the corner to the area where the lever DIN connectors are. I find the brown and blue wires and I connect them back to the 110 volt power source. I double check the picture I took earlier to make sure that I plug them into the same place. I push the brown wire into the port of the leftmost red lever connector. I push the lever down to lock the connection. I then push in the blue wire into the middle yellow port. I then push down on the lever to lock the connection in. Your wires might be connected different than mine are, so make sure you plug them in the exact same way you took them out. I place the side panel back in place and I lock it down. Next, I tie wrap the cable wrap in place so that it doesn't move, and then I snip off the ends. I now finish up by tie wrapping the remaining cluster of wires so everything looks nice and tidy. Well guys, as I wrap up this fan install, if you found this video helpful, please click on my AEON partner referral link in the description below. If you are thinking about buying an AEON laser, click on the referral link and just tell them Rico sent you. Please help me to get compensated so I can continue to make videos like this one. I now position the Mira 7 back in place and I plug the laser to power. It's now time for the moment I've been waiting for. I power on the Mira 7 and I turn on the exhaust fan by pressing the blower switch button. I can hear the fan spinning up, and I confirm that it's working by going outside to see the exhaust blowing out of the window exhaust fan. So in conclusion, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. So until my next video, see you then and adios.